Welcome back. OpenAI's president speaking about recent departures from the company for the first time on our air this morning. Kate Rooney has the details. Kate.
OpenAI co-founder and president Greg Brockman really brushed off some criticism about recent executive departures, namely Chief Revenue Officer Denise Dresser, who announced last week she was going to be stepping down. Here's what Brockman told Andrew on Squawk Box.
I'm a constant, Sam is a constant. I actually think that the difference between OpenAI and other organizations is that we are so much in the spotlight, so every departure gets scrutinized in a way that it doesn't otherwise.
Dresser, who I mentioned, is part of a string of high-profile exits that we've seen in just the past 6 months or so. Brockman, in that interview, also confirming some of our reporting from an investor meeting on Friday. He said revenue grew about 20% in July. Enterprise revenue, in particular, was up 32%. His big focus of this interview was cybersecurity and some of the risk to corporate America. He says that human written code is full of vulnerabilities. He called it tech debt. Cyber, of course, has been one of the biggest topics in AI, especially after those high-profile issues with AI agents from OpenAI hacking into startups. Guys, we did also hear from Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei in a very rare tweet over the weekend. He was responding to some of the widespread criticism out there that he has been overly pessimistic about some of this technology. That's adding to some of the widespread mistrust of the industry. Amodei, in this tweet, says, quote, "I do not agree that my messaging has been disproportionately negative." He argues that he's been equally balanced between some of the risks and benefits. Says, "I do agree that the public has a negative view of AI and that this is a big problem, but I don't think it's primarily caused by me or any other AI leader," warning about AI's risks. He calls it a crisis of trust. He says they also haven't delivered on some of the big promises to benefit the world. He talks about drug discovery in particular on that topic, guys.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, our discussion with Jim this morning in the 9 a.m. was about sort of these large AI labs saying, trust us when it comes to safety, and now arguing that these bad actors inevitably will have control of some of these models.
It's interesting. One of the questions, too, that Andrew tossed out, I don't think we got a clear answer on this, but the criticism has been that this is marketing, that they're saying, hey, cybersecurity is so risky that you need to buy more of our technology. From what I've also heard, Brockman has told some of the investors in OpenAI behind the scenes that cybersecurity is a huge enterprise opportunity. So they see it as both. That might, doesn't need to be both. It can obviously be a risk and also a business opportunity. They've been banging the table, but clearly an issue here for enterprises. And, when you say tech debt and there's companies out there with a ton of vulnerabilities, it raises alarm bells. And we've seen a lot of companies try to get ahead of that. He sort of described this as a moment where companies still have an opportunity to get ahead before some of the bad actors do. And before this technology really is ubiquitous, OpenAI and Anthropic might have a little bit of a jump start on some of the open source models. But from what we're hearing, they're not far behind. It's maybe a matter of months.
Kate, I'm curious what you make of the high-profile departures and Brockman basically saying it's not that big of a deal. It happens all the time. Have we seen something similar with Anthropic, which is also confidentially filed to go public?
We have not, Leslie. It's a very different company in that sense. And folks that I've talked to that are close to OpenAI, especially investors, have said that this is the company, this is the culture. Some of the turnover and volatility is expected. Somebody called it a hire fast, fire fast culture. So if one thing is constant about OpenAI, it's that you're going to have a lot of volatility, whether that's executive turnover, whether that's the culture in general and how quickly they move. A lot of folks that I've talked to just expect more of this going ahead. But I think the important thing ahead of an IPO is that they do have their team in place, that it is Greg Brockman, it's Sam Altman, and Sarah Fryer is the other important executive that investors look to, who's really been telling the story of the revenue growth and trying to frame all of this to Wall Street. If you see any of those three go, I think that would be the big one. Aside from that, I think it's sort of all systems go to the IPO. But if any of those three left, I think it would really, really raise some alarm bells.